87% of real estate agents don't make it 5 years. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly why and exactly how to be in that 13% that does make it. The average agent sells 4 homes a year. 4. That's not a business. That is a hobby with a license. I've built 3 separate businesses to 7 figures in my career. And in real estate, I've made every single mistake that you can possibly make getting there. Today, I'm opening up 22 years of hard-earned lessons so you can scale faster, make fewer mistakes, and actually build something worth owning. This is the playbook I wish someone had handed to me on day 1 of my business career. Real estate, I firmly believe, is the greatest business I've ever been in. It has made me more money than anything else, but you have to get it right and you have to do the work. Most agents fail not because the business is hard, but because they treat it like it is a hobby. Today, I'm going to unpack 13 lessons for you. Some of these are tactical, some of these are mindset, but all of these I learned the hard way. Let's dive straight into it. First of all, people have to know that you exist for you to succeed in real estate. That means you need to advertise more than what feels comfortable. When you are starting off as a real estate agent, you're going to need to spend more time and more money to make sure people know who you are and what you do. If they don't know who you are and what you do, they simply can't do business with you. It is that simple. So people have to have an awareness of who you are. Most agents don't market enough, and then they wonder why the phone isn't ringing. Before someone can work with you or spend money with you, they have to know you exist. Like I just said, that's it. That's the whole game. You have to be willing to spend money on lead generation. In the beginning, when you're getting started in real estate, I recommend spending up to 20% of your GCI going back into the business to fuel this awareness of who you are. So that means if you cash in a $20,000 commission, that'd be about $4,000 goes right back into the business to advertise. Okay. That could be lead generation, could be YouTube ads, could be Facebook ads, could be Zillow, whatever, but it needs to be something that's going to increase awareness of who you are and help you increase your business. We'll talk later about lead sources, ones that have worked well for me. So stay tuned for that. I'll cover that later in this video, and I'll share with you exactly ones that have worked very, very well, ones that maybe 7 figures, and ones that have just been a total waste of money. So stay tuned for that. But later, once your business is running, you can scale that back to 8 to 10% of your GCI once you have a well-tuned machine and people know who you are. But you have to invest heavily in those first couple of years to really get that flywheel moving and to make sure people know truly who you are. The first year that I was in real estate, my wife and I sold 79 houses between the two of us. We didn't have a team. It was just literally the two of us in there grinding and working away. We also didn't have a ton of money. So while we did spend money to increase awareness, we opted to spend a lot of our time reaching out to people proactively. So this was calling people. We did a lot of pay-per-click lead generation, and pay-per-click lead generation resulted in lots of awareness. And that awareness was elevated by reaching out and calling people and converting them into in-person appointments. So we'll talk about that more as well. But you have to make sure people know who you are. You need to be brand dominant and top of mind in your market. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. Video is my favorite way. Think YouTube ads, think Facebook ads, that sort of thing, market reports, all of that. The second one, you need to spend at least half of your day having conversations in real estate. You can pull this back as you've been in the business longer. I think once you've been in like 5 years or done at least 150 transactions. But in the beginning, you need to spend a disproportionate amount of your time having real estate conversations with people and just talking about homes. What are their goals? What's their motivation? Why were they curious to look at homes on your website? Most agents, they spend their time worrying about how to master contracts, learning the MLS, perfecting stupid things like their Canva email signature, and they have 0 clients to show for it. So that's a distraction. That is busy work, and that is not anything that's going to pay your bills or create income. So having conversations is what I call an income producing activity. It's going to lead you to ultimately selling more houses. So you need to spend about half your day when you first start doing this one thing, and that's reaching out to people. If you're calling people, I'm not saying you have to call, but calling is a very effective way to do things. I recommend calling between 8 and 10 a.m. and then again from about 4 to 6 p.m. You'll find that in the middle of the day when people are at work, they don't pick up the phone as much, but I've tracked a lot of our call data. Our team has made over 1 million phone calls in the last 9 years. And what we have seen is that the pickup rates are disproportionately higher in the morning when people are on their way to work. Think like windshield time, they got time to talk while they're driving into work in the office. And then in the evening when they're back home and work is done for the day. The other thing is catching them on the weekends is very, very important. So you should have a Saturday call block think like 8 to noon, something like that, to grab people that have been working all week, not been able to get to their phone. But try calling on Saturdays and you'll see that a lot of activity comes out of that. When I'm calling people, I'm looking for a pickup rate of somewhere between 8 and 15%. It's not huge, but if you just get a lot of calls put in, you're going to eventually have a lot of real estate conversations. The input is simply just the amount of calls. Make as many calls as possible. If you're calling for 4 hours a day, you should be making at least 100 phone calls during that period of time. So about 25 phone calls per hour is very reasonable. Of course, you're not calling off of your cell phone. You're going to have a dialer. We use Follow Up Boss. They've got a great single line dialer. If you want to call 3 lines at once, you can look at something like Mojo Dialer. We've used that a lot as well, but you just need to get more calls downrange. It's the single most important thing to having more conversations. Texting works as well. I think texting works to scale conversations, but it does not lead to really, really good appointments. We always use texting as a way to get people onto what we call a targeted phone call. And a targeted phone call is one where we've already had a conversation on text, kind of flushed them out, kind of qualified their motivation and their capacity to buy or to sell. And now we're hopping on a phone call at a specific time to go much deeper on what their goals are and then set up an appointment from there. So we don't ever really set appointments off of text messages. It's not the goal. The goal is to start a conversation that leads to a phone call that's being scheduled. Okay. I want to be very clear about that. But when we sold those 79 houses our first year in real estate, it wasn't because we were the smartest agents in the room. It's because we were talking to people nonstop. We would come into the office, I'd put on my headset, just stand there and push the go button on the dialer and, call for 2 hours, take a break, go, typically show some houses, come back and call again in the afternoon. It's very simple. Like, this is not that difficult. It just takes consistency. If you can be consistent in this one thing, you can build a very big business. You can build it very, very fast. And it's going to pay off massively for you. But conversations lead to appointments. Appointments lead to signed clients. Signed clients lead to closings. Everything else is secondary to this one thing. This is very important. And like I said, once you've been in the business for about 5 years or 150 deals, you can scale this back, but that is earned and it is not given. I still spend 30 to 60 minutes a day having follow-up conversations with clients. It's just these are now conversations with people that have already come to me and I haven't had to reach out to them to transact. Like that changes around after you've been doing this long enough. You have enough past clients, you have enough referrals, you have got done all of the marketing I talked about in step 1. Everyone knows who you are. They're always thinking about you. You have top of mind awareness. Now people are reaching out to you instead of you having to reach out to them, but you have to get there and it takes about 3 to 5 years to make that happen. Number 3, I don't want you to worry about systems until you have sales. I am a systems guy through and through. I believe in having standard operating procedures or SOPs for everything, but in the beginning, it does not matter one bit. The only thing that matters at all is getting volume in. Systems come second. You can build them once you've got volume coming, but until you're closing 2 to 3 homes a month consistently, month in, month out, you have not earned the right to start building processes. It's going to take away your time of actually creating income. It should come later once you're selling 2-3 homes a month every single month. That would be, that neighborhood of 24 to 36 deals a year. Now we need to start systematizing the business, because if we don't systematize it, then we're going to have breakdowns in the pipeline. We're going to have missed opportunities. We're going to have missed expectations. Something's going to slip through the cracks because we have not really locked down our process. But that comes later on. And a lot of agents get this wrong. They do it way too early. You need to do this after you've got massive sales momentum. So build the infrastructure after you've got the sales. And this is counterintuitive to what most people will tell you. Get the sales cranked up first, then the systems will make the experience for your clients and for your team seamless. It's in that order. It's not the other way around. So number 4, your leading indicator is your obsession. Everyone's laser focused on what I call the lagging indicator. The lagging indicator in real estate is things like closed units, commissions, checks, GCI. Those are all lagging indicators. These are things that come later on, but they aren't the thing that leads to the transaction happening. They're the result of what happened, okay? So they're not the one thing that you control today. You can't say, hey, I want to sell more houses today, and boom, it just happens. But you can say, hey, I'm going to make more phone calls today, and you control that action. So we want to identify what are the leading indicators that's going to drive those lagging indicators, or the lagging results is another way to think about it. So in real estate, again, this could be things like conversations that you have, appointments set, clients signed. I know if I do these things, these actions, these leading indicators, the lagging indicator, the closed units, is going to basically just take care of itself. I'm not even going to have to stress about it. Of course, I'm going to look at it, but I'm going to be just absolutely passionately obsessed with my leading indicators, because I control them and they are action focused. Okay. If you obsess over appointments set and clients signed, the closed units just totally take care of themselves. Laser focus on what you can actually control today. Don't worry about what you can't control. You cannot control closed units right here, right now. But if you do the right thing today and tomorrow and next week and next month, the closed units will take care of themselves. So stop stressing about what's going to happen next month. Number 5, and this is going to be very polarizing to some because right now we are in this culture that really pushes balance in business. And balance is a load of BS when you start in real estate. Okay. If balance is what you're after, you've already lost. You're going to be one of those agents that doesn't make it. You're going to be one of those 87%, or you're going to be one of those agents that sells 4 homes a year every year and you never break through. Balance is something, again, that is earned. It's not given to you in the beginning. So if you're not willing to work nights and weekends to build your pipeline in the early years, you're simply not going to make it. You can just do a full stop right now, turn off this video, go find a different career. This is not for you. I'm just being honest with you. I'm telling you the things that most people won't. You can see those Instagram feel-good stories about people having that perfect work-life balance. It is a fantasy. If you want to dominate in real estate, prepare to make sacrifices. That's the truth. This is not for forever. This is the price of admission for building something unbelievable. The agents that protect their weekends in year 1, they're the same agents that are gone by year 3. So pay the price now so you can design the life that you want to live later. Dave Ramsey has a saying, sacrifice like none other now so you can live a life like none other later. And that totally speaks to this, okay? If you can sacrifice short term, your time and your weekends, your nights, your freedom, long term, it's going to pay off massively. You're going to have those things in abundance because you paid that price of admission to earn it later on. That gets me to lead sources. We want you to master 3 to 4 lead sources. Don't be mediocre at 10 lead sources, okay? So spreading yourself across 10 lead sources, like a lot of coaches tell you to do, is going to result at being super mediocre at each one of these and not being fantastic at any one of them. Instead, what I want you to do is I want you to go deep on a small number of them and become world-class at them. That includes systematization of those lead sources. It includes the conversion process of those lead sources, the language patterns of those lead sources. But you really need to understand there's 2 types of lead sources that are out there, okay? The first one is where you trade money for time. And if you've got money, this is the path you want to do because it's going to scale much, much quicker, okay? Pay-per-click leads, which is like Google or Bing. Someone types houses for sale in Everett, Washington, which is where we live. Then your website's going to come up. I like pay-per-click a lot. But again, you have to pay to play. Zillow and Realtor.com, definitely expensive, but definitely works. These are paid leads. These were faster ramp up time. They cost money. But again, you're trading money for time. You're not giving your time, you're giving your money instead. Okay, so that's kind of one bucket. The second bucket is where you're trading time for money. Okay, the first one was money for time. This one's time for money. This is going to be things that are time intensive, things like door knocking, cold calling, open houses. These take a lot longer to get going because you really can't scale your time, right? Like you can only do so many open houses. You can only door knock so many doors per day. You can only cold call so many people per week. But if you have no budget, you have no money, this is the path you've got to pursue and you've got to become really good at it. It's totally fine. It does work. It's just going to require a little bit more time and effort to get there. It's slower, but if your budget is tight, it's definitely the way to go. What are my top closed lead sources? I promised you in the beginning of this video I would share it with you. I'm going to give you that info right now. I'm going to pull back the curtain on what's led to our team selling $900 million in real estate in the last 9 years. What's worked the best? Well, the first one is what we call PCSOI. So past clients and sphere of influence. This accounts for about half of our sales. And it's more like 70 or 80% of the sales of the agents on our team that have been doing this the longer period of time. Because the longer you're in real estate, the more people transact. A lot of people own homes for like 5 to 7 years. So if you've only been in real estate for 2 or 3 years, you're not going to get those people you sold a home to selling that house again yet. You have to wait for them to go through that life cycle of buying a house, living in a house, selling a house, buying a house again. When you get to that point, it becomes really fun because all of a sudden, all those buyers become sellers and people are now calling you because you did a good job representing them. They want to work with you again. And more importantly than that, you stayed in touch with them after the closing, which we're going to talk about later as well. But PCSOI, you need to systematize, and we've got plans for that on how to stay in touch with these people and how to foster these relationships into transactions. The second one, top closed lead sources, is builder business. So I like working with select builders. I don't typically work with national builders, but regional and local builders I do like working with if they have the right mindset, if they look at the partnership with me really as that as a partnership and not just like a vendor they're working with. But if they're loyal if they're good to work with, if they understand the market, they don't just sit on inventory, they're not like super unrealistic on pricing like some builders can be, and they have consistent volume, then I like the repeat business that comes with builders. So we've got 2 or 3 of these. They sell between like 10 and 30 houses a year. And this is just a good like baseline of business. I like it a lot. And it's hard to find these relationships. These people actually found us. We didn't find them. So back to like your reputation and making sure everyone knows who you are. This is going to take time. It took us about 5 years to start building builder relationships. But once you build them, they can be really awesome. My background is in home building and development. And so I'm able to really help these builders build a bigger business faster. And it might not be a great fit for you, but for us, it's been awesome. The third top lead source for us is PPC or pay-per-click, like I talked about earlier. I talked about this a few times already in this video. This is highly scalable with budget. You can just literally turn the dial up. It generates motivated bottom of funnel leads. What I've seen from pay-per-click is it takes about 90 days to convert 1% of the leads. So if I generate 100 leads, I can expect 1 will transact in the first 90 days, which is pretty awesome if you think about that. It's profitable for sure as well. It's much less expensive than Zillow or Realtor.com. And then the best part is if I got really good nurturing systems like auto plans, phone calls, things like that, videos, then I'll convert another 2 to 3% of those leads over the next 18 months. Like they can be a very long conversion cycle on pay-per-click, but that's totally fine. But if you have really good lead conversion skills, and if you're very good at getting people from the phone to connection to appointment, I like pay-per-click a lot. We've closed over $5 million in GCI on our team from pay-per-click leads and accounted for almost every single one of our deals that first year we're in real estate where we sold those 79 houses. I like it a lot. I don't recommend doing pay-per-click yourself. Like don't build the ads within Google. Hire a company to do it for you that specializes in it. You can of course reach out to us. We can connect you with our preferred vendor that we've worked with since day one. He's awesome. But check that out. The last one, Zillow or Realtor.com. They're both kind of a similar type lead. I'd say Zillow is probably a little bit higher quality. Realtor.com has also been good for us. These were really good for us when we first started out. They were bottom of funnel, like really ready to go. I mean, most of these leads are like reaching out to you saying, I want to go look at this house. So the downside to that is there's not a lot of loyalty built in there because you didn't catch them really high up in the funnel before they were ready to start touring homes. So they don't necessarily have a deep relationship with you, not a lot of trust built yet. But if you've got, good systems to jump in there, go show them the house, connect with them, build them value, then get them out showing them other houses right after that one, it can work really well. None of these work though if you don't know how to talk to people, which is why this next one, number 7, matters more than anything else on this whole list. And let's jump right into that one. You need to become a master of sales language. And when I say sales language, I am not talking robotic scripts. I'm not talking about reading off of a piece of paper like some coaching companies tell you to do. That is not going to result in the outcome that you want. Put yourself in the shoes of a lead. Would you want someone reading off of a piece of paper to you? No, you wouldn't. You would be like, what the hell are you doing? Instead, you want to have a human-to-human conversation that's got connection built into it, like authentic connection, where this person seems like they truly care about what your motivation, what your goals are. When you have the connection, and you have the gift and art of persuasion in your sales language, amazing things can happen, okay? The goal is to make people feel heard, to make them feel understood, and like they can trust you. So when you get started in real estate, you need to practice this a lot of role plays, start on the phone. A lot of agents try to start with in-person conversion, which I don't recommend. Start on the phone. I've heard so many agents, like literally hundreds of agents tell me over the years that they're so much better in person than they are on the phone. If that's you need to fix this problem and you need to fix it fast. You need to get better on the phone than you are in person, or at least as good. Because if you can't get good on the phone, you'll never meet people. It's that simple. If you can't get them from a phone call to an in-person buyer consultation or listing appointment, you have no possible chance of transacting with this person. So get very, very good at having conversations on the phone. The phone forces you to communicate with words alone, and there's no body language. Everything has to be super sharp. But once you're good on the phone, everything in person becomes very easy. So like I said, please don't try to memorize robotic scripts. Commit instead to concepts and language patterns instead. One of my favorite examples of what is a framework or a language pattern is something we call reframe and reflect. Reframe and reflect is repeating back what a person says to you in a way that shows them that you truly heard them, then reframe that concern. Another example is what we call the herd effect. The herd effect is making people understand what most people do. And what most people do is what these other people want to do as well. So a language pattern looks like this. Most of my clients in your situation ended up doing X. Okay, so I'm telling them like, hey, this is what most people in your scenario have done. that we're successful. Okay. So there's kind of like social proof baked into that conversation when you think about it. But there's literally like dozens, if not hundreds of subtleties, little things like this, little frameworks on how to connect with people in a very deep way that are very, very effective. But you have to take the time to study these and become very good at them. You can't practice on leads. You need to practice either chanting these things out, to yourself, or writing them down so they commit back to your memory. Or the best one is role playing with a partner. You can role play on the phone with somebody, you can role play in person, but just get lots of reps. Like, you need to be super comfortable where you have that muscle memory where you're not thinking about what to say. You're just having this natural conversation with people that results in the outcome that you want. This person feels amazing after this conversation, and you got the appointment and qualified this person the way that you wanted to do. Number 8 is collect social proof like your business depends on it, because it really does. And this is going to look like things like reviews and client testimonials. These are a very valuable marketing asset. I literally have a social proof video that shows like a highlight reel of all of our Zillow reviews, so people can see in our clients' words what it's like to work with us instead of me telling them what I do for them. Okay, it's very, very powerful. If you can share this kind of information, these kind of social proof reviews with people before you meet with them, it's going to help you really win over that client before you even ever sit down face to face. So let your past clients do the selling for you, but you have to take the time to reach out to them and get these reviews. Okay, so put your social proof everywhere. Put on your website, your listing presentation, your buyer consultations, your social media, your Google business profile. I like Google reviews and Zillow reviews. Either one is totally fine, but screenshot every 5-star review, Google, Zillow, Facebook, Realtor, and use them. And the best time to ask for a review is the point at the greatest satisfaction. Right after you hand over keys, right, or right after the offer gets accepted. Either one's good, but just say, it would mean absolutely the world to me if you would leave me a 5-star review, say 5 stars, and give them the link. I like to text it to them, and I text them a Google link and a Zillow link. I tell them they can copy and paste it in both places. Okay, so I'm making it very easy for them, and I'm removing the friction that comes with leaving reviews. Don't tell them to go on and find you. Send them the link. Make it super easy. Okay, and remember as well, video testimonials beat written ones when you can get one. So if you can get somebody to hop on camera for you and just shoot a quick 30-second video about what it was like to work with you, they can just do it off of their phone, send it to you. That is very, very powerful. It doesn't have to be this like polished, perfect, video that's like in a studio. It can literally just be on their iPhone. That's totally fine. But the agent that's got 200 reviews is going to beat the agent that has no reviews with a better pitch every single time. Number 9 is don't be afraid to build your business with buyers. This is a big surprise to most people, especially old school agents that have been around for a long time. A lot of old school agents, they look down on working with buyers, and it's a huge mistake. I actually built my business working with buyers. My wife and I kind of split things up when we first started, where she would handle the sellers, I would handle the buyers, and I got up to 80 buy-side transactions a year. This really allowed me to build a big business later on, because all of these people later on need to sell. Right? Just like I talked about, there's this life cycle of home ownership and home buying and home selling. And when you work with that many buyers, you end up with a ton of sellers later on. Okay. So buyers truly are the foundation. It's a lot easier to generate buyer leads than to just generate seller leads. These become your sellers 3 to 5 years later if you've stayed in contact with them. They also refer you their friends and their family. That brings me to the showing partner model. The showing partner model is how you scale working with buyers. If you don't have a showing partner, you're going to struggle to scale. You're going to end up with 3 or 4 active hot buyers at a time, and you're going to be showing houses 7 days a week and absolutely hating your life. So a showing partner allows you to have that leverage, to have somebody that's dedicated to showing your clients homes, sitting inspections, things like that. I've had as many as 3 W-2 showing partners at one time. Okay. So you end up handling the consultation, negotiations, offer writing, things like that. Basically, you're the steward of the relationship. Think of you as like the doctor, and the showing partner is more like the nurse. They're going to handle property tours, staying in touch with your client after you've signed them, things like that. Okay. But this is how you stay in your highest value lane while still serving buyers at a high level. This is also how you scale things up without completely burning out. If you do this right, you can spend 3 or 4 hours per buyer transaction and make really fantastic money. But you need to find the right showing partner, someone who's going to be really good at nurturing your buyers, that's going to take great care of them, that is truly an extension of you. You need to train them correctly, which means lots of shadowing you, having standard operating procedures for how you show homes, how you put notes in the CRM at the end of the showings, all of these types of things. Okay. So we have actually a masterclass on scaling your buyer business There's a link down below. You can grab that masterclass. It's 58 modules long. It's super in-depth. It includes a workbook on how to scale both sides of your business. So check that out. That brings me to number 10 is outsourcing transaction coordination. And you should do this literally on your first transaction. Do not try to do this yourself. This is one of the most common bottlenecks that stops agents from growing. The reason it stops you from growing is that you immediately stop doing the things that created the income for you in the transaction originally. Instead of getting back on the phone and setting another appointment with somebody, you're now in task management mode, like uploading documents, managing compliance, all these other things. I don't want you to do that at all. You can instead easily hire this out to a third-party company that's going to do a great job of it. I think we pay like $400 a file. It makes a ton of sense to do this, okay? But most agents, they try to do their own transaction coordination, and then they hit a ceiling of 2 to 3 closings a month. They can't figure out why they're stuck there. And the reason they're stuck there is because they're a part-time administrator and they don't know it, okay? You need to be a full-time salesperson, and that means you don't do tasks. So outsource this until you're closing 20 or more deals a month. We've had an in-house transaction coordinator before. It was fantastic, but we were closing like 20 to 30 deals each and every month. It made a lot of sense to have that brought in-house. For most agents, especially 2-3 agent teams, it doesn't make a ton of sense to have that position in-house because it's expensive. Yeah, you might pay a $60,000 salary for that. It could be cheaper just to hire it out per file. But your job is to sell. And the moment you're doing paperwork, you're losing money, whether you realize it or not. You think you're saving money because it's not going out. You don't realize that you're not creating any income coming in. Okay, so stay in your sales lane. Everything else is a distraction, and I need you to look at it from that perspective. That's the thing that actually grows your business, is talking to people, the conversations like I talked about earlier, and meeting with people, okay? That brings me to number 11, and this is the perfect segue to this point, is hire an administrator assistant as fast as possible. If you have not read Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, go read it and read it right now. It's going to change how you think about the framework of having an assistant. But as soon as you're closing 1 to 2 deals a month, bring in an admin. It's going to allow you to scale your time and sell more houses almost immediately, okay? While this position does not generate income directly, it frees you up to generate a lot more income and very fast, okay? So start handing off every task that is not a sales conversion or conversation to this person right away. Start developing standard operating procedures for your assistant with them. Don't wait to hire them until you've got them built. Bring this person in and build them together instead, okay? But this is gonna be like scheduling, email follow-up, social media posting, transaction coordination, data entry, all of this kind of administrative work. Anything that is like $25 an hour, this assistant should be doing, okay? Every hour you spend on administrative work is an hour you didn't spend setting an appointment. This hire pays for itself almost immediately if you let go of the task. So as soon as you can afford it, like if you can afford it on day one, go hire an assistant. I promise you it's going to make you so much more money and scale you so much faster when you do that. Number 12, don't scale your lifestyle. Stockpile your cash first. You see plenty of agents who have a really good month. They make $50,000 a month, and then the next month and the month after that, they make zero. And this can't be you. This is a really big problem, because when people have those 50K months and then they have zero income months, they end up in this roller coaster of cash. Like there's a lot coming in and there's nothing coming in, but they still have bills racking up, and agents have a way of scaling their lifestyle to that best month. So if they made $50,000 one month, all of a sudden they go out and buy that car that's got a $2,500 payment on it. Maybe they buy a new house right away. They're taking super expensive vacations. Those things can come later on once you reach a certain level of success. Like think like you're a millionaire and have like a high net worth. But when you're starting off, these are huge traps and mistakes that you're making, trying to prove to people you're successful when it's really not that important, okay? You don't need to impress other people by having a fancy car, by having the right house, or by showboating what vacations you're taking on social media. Instead, just keep your head down, do the work, live on a budget, and save your money, okay? This will pay off massively for you later on. But desperate agents, they make bad decisions, they discount their commissions, they take bad clients, they rush transactions, and clients can feel this. Like when you're desperate as an agent and you need this transaction, you need this cash, it comes off really bad to the client. They can feel it. That commission breath, that you hear talked about, that's what I'm referring to right now. So when you don't need that transaction, when you are indifferent whether it closes or not, like you want it to close, but you're not going to force it to close because you have to have it close, that's when you get into a really powerful position with your clients where they not only respect you, but you're looking out for their best interest before your best interest, which is very, very important. So live out a budget, both personal and business, and be disciplined with it. Look at your finances every single week, look at your P&L every month, and cut out everything that you don't actually use or need. There's a lot of crap that people can have you spend money on in this business, and I I would challenge you to look at how much money you got going out every month and say, do I really need this stuff still? Like these subscriptions really do add up. Build cash reserves. I aim for 6 months of personal and business expenses. Stockpile that until the business is truly stable. And then once it's stockpiled, you can start distributing more of it to you as the owner. But wealth is built by the gap between what you make and what you spend. Protect that gap in the early years and protect it at all costs. That brings me to number 13. This is the final one of the day. Once you get to this point and you followed every single one of these levels I've talked about, you now have earned the right to have your money working for you. Your money is now going to make you more money. It becomes very cool. We call this passive income, but once you reach a level of financial stability, your income needs to start making more income. This looks like real estate sales that kind of gave you the knowledge, the deal flow, the cash to invest. All of that now gets put to work to produce other incomes for you. This could be things like income producing rental properties. You already know how to find these. You can just start buying them, holding on to them. Flips. You're going to go on bad listing appointments where the person cannot bring their house to the market. Those could make great flip opportunities if you got a system and process to do that. Start thinking about buying one flip per quarter. You can hold on to those flips as rental income producing properties if you don't want to sell them. It makes total sense. A mortgage joint venture could make sense as well, where you partner with a mortgage lender and you guys are financial partners in this business. Just make sure you disclose it if you're doing that. The stock market, I'm a big fan of, where you build a kind of a second engine that runs while you sleep of passive income investing. And then of course, real estate sales is truly the fuel that makes all these other things possible. So like if you don't keep the real estate sales going, none of these other things work. That has to stay the main thing. The main thing must stay the main thing for everything else to continue to compound and to grow. But once you've got the real estate sales and then you start actively investing your money into these other income producing channels, things start to compound. Now you're making money in 4, 5, 6 different places instead of just one. And that's where things get very interesting. That's where true wealth is built. Okay. But the goal is to eventually have your money working as hard as you do so that it actually makes more money than you make from physically working. That's when you actually reach financial freedom. Remember, 87% of agents do not make it 5 years, but now you know why. And more importantly, you know exactly what to do instead. 13 lessons, all of them learned the hard way. People have to know you exist. You have to talk to people constantly. You got to get sales before you build systems. You need to lead with leading indicators. You need to pay the price early, make sacrifices. You need to master a few specific lead sources and go very deep on them. You need to learn to connect and persuade people in a powerful and meaningful way. You need to stack your social proof with reviews. And you need to build your business with buyers to start with, and then later those become sellers. You need to outsource everything as fast as possible for administrative help and support. You need to make sure you don't blow your money on stupid, wasteful things that agents like to spend money on, and then put that money to work. Okay, like I said in the beginning, I've built 3 businesses to 7 figures, and in real estate, over the last 22 years, I've helped over 1,600 families buy and sell homes. Everything I just walked you through is that playbook I wish I had on day one. These are lessons I learned the hard way. When I look back, I'm like, hey, that really was a big deal and a differentiator to me getting to the point that I'm at now. If you're a real estate agent who wants to scale using proven systems and processes, we have courses in the link below. They give you the exact frameworks that helped us scale to over $100 million a year. They're extremely tactical. You can just grab them and plug them right into your business. Go check those out. And if you're looking for a brokerage that actually invests in your growth, we partner with agents at REAL Brokerage all across the country and internationally as well. You can learn about what that looks like and how to get us as your mentor in the links below also. There's a new video that I drop every single week that is very tactical, just like this one is. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. And I will see you on the next video.